Welcome, everybody, to Nectar of the Pods. I am your host, Graveshift77. Today, I have a very special guest, the composer of Elestrals, WindZ. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great after another session of recording a podcast. Same day.
Too many sessions. Too many sessions
Because we couldn't get the first one through. Let's go.
Hey, we're sitting pretty now. Everything looks great.
We're sitting good now. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing great. How about yourself, Grave?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's been a very eventful day already. I am running off of about 3 hours of sleep, but it's fine because I've got me some Shiny Splash here to help me get through all of the work that needs to be done. Anyways, man, so let's start with some introductions. Who is WindZ?
That's a really good question. What the heck? Why did you bring it out like this so early? You brought out your heavy duty already. Jeez.
Firing on all cylinders, man.
I guess I'm me. I am WindZ. I am he who exists. But yeah, for real, I am WindZ, of course. For anybody that's watching the podcast, I'm sure you know who I am. I am the composer for the Elestrals trading card game. I also do the sound effects for the Elestrals trading card game as well. I am also, like, I do other stuff besides Elestrals, of course, but I also run the YouTube channel Elestrals Central, which we will probably be talking more about, of course, during the podcast as well. So I get around.
That's a good thing, though, man. Keep busy. Yeah, ever since I started making Elestrals content, it seems like I never stop doing things. So
yes, that's one of the craziest things for me was when I got hired last year. Like, things were a little bit slow at first when it came to like the community and everything. But then things ramped up so quickly when we released the first set of music, as well as like officially like really bringing out Elestrals to the people. That, like, the app, for example, when it was brought into the public, like everything like really changed there. It was like I've been like nothing but Elestrals like constantly every day. So it's surprisingly taken up just about almost all of my life in a just flash.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing, though, right? That means everything's rolling the way it should be.
It's been a dream come true. I said this before on a previous podcast, but Elestrals is a dream job for me. I never thought I would get an opportunity to do something like this, where I get to make music kind of like Pokemon, except it isn't. So it's a dream come true, and I'm glad that I'm able to, you know, do what I do for everyone here in the community.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I really love your music. I
Thank
am
you.
a huge fan. I'm excited for what the future holds. But I did a little bit of research.
Ooh.
On the man called WindZ.
Oh no.
So
what did you find?
I found a fan-made Sonic game called Sonic Quantum Collision that you did the soundtrack for. Can you tell me a little bit about that one? How did that come about?
Oh, jeez. So the craziest thing in the world, Sonic Quantum Collision, I'm technically still a part of, but that's one of the first projects I ever joined.
Really? Okay.
It's one of the first projects I ever joined as a music composer. I joined it in 2018. And it's a fun story with this. Originally, I was working on a Sonic fan game with a friend of mine who we knew through Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. And he was making a game called Sonic Rebound and wanted me to make the music for it, so I did. I made some music, but the game never went anywhere. And I guess there was like some drama between him with Sonic Rebound and Sonic Quantum Collision. And eventually, like, Sonic Rebound just ended up not being a thing. And then I ended up joining Sonic Quantum Collision instead. And the main developer, Tub Hero, and I were pretty darn good friends at this point. And it's just been a great time over there ever since. Although it's been harder and harder to work for them lately just because I'm such a busy person and I don't get paid working on that game because it's a
Yeah.
fan game. But it holds a really special place in my heart. And I wish more people knew about it. It is playable. You can play it on your PC. There's a demo available for it, and it is genuinely a lot of fun. And I
Yeah,
love
I
music
looked it up.
too.
It looks like a lot of incorporation from like the original Sonic games.
You have no idea what it's gonna look like because they've like ever since that demo, they've been working so hard on changing up the visuals to make it even more stunning, and it just looks so amazing.
Awesome, man. I've always been a huge fan of the Sonic games. Like I think my first foray into Sonic was the first Sonic Adventure on the Sega, back before Sega sold themselves
Oh,
to.
so you had a Dreamcast
Yeah,
then?
yeah. The Dreamcast. That was one of my very first Sonic games. Now I didn't get into the 2D ones until later on, but I've always really loved Sonic, and I assume that has a partial place in your heart as well, because
Huge place in my
I
heart
think
because
that's
that's
where your
what
name comes
started.
from, right?
Yes. So my channel started as a like my whole music composing career started remixing Sonic music. And back in the day I was known as Tailsy Music.
Okay.
And then a couple years later it changed to TZ Music. And then it became Tailwinds instead. So that way it was a little more recognizable. And I feel like that succeeded there for sure because
Oh yeah.
TZ music was not bad, but it just isn't as recognizable because it's just two letters as
Yeah.
like Tailwinds is. So yeah, Sonic does mean a whole lot to me. I love the Sonic music, of course, and I've made amazing friends in the Sonic remixing community that I still have for all this time. Like it holds a special place in my heart. I wish I had the time to remix it more.
Yeah, I saw you have quite a bit of remixes. That's really cool, the fact that you make, or not only do you do like remixes, but you have your original music as well. Like
Yes.
it makes it you're very versatile in that aspect and realm. That's really cool, and I really dig some of the remixes that you've made, man. They're
Thank you.
fantastic.
I wish I could do more of them. I just haven't had the time.
Yeah.
Like anymore, it's only been original music. And I wish I had the time to go back to doing remixes, honestly. Those take up time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And in my space anymore, time is money. And it's just one of those unfortunate things. But with Elestrals, at least, I mean, nobody's been remixing any Elestrals music track so far. I have not seen a single one, and I've been sitting like a kid in a candy shop waiting for someone to remix an Elestrals track. And luckily, at least with some tracks, like I'll get that opportunity to be able to remix them and stuff. So I'll be remixing music soon, eventually, but it'll be with like stuff that I've already made.
Right. So that's a cool segue. So what's the differences between like creating original music and doing remixes? So, because like I know remixes, you have like a basic foundation to go off of, but a lot of times remixes just turn into like a crazy, unreal, like not even the original song anymore. They become like their own entity, and it's so wild to me. Can you explain like the differences between like making remixes and originals? Like how does the two separate?
So I think the big thing is remixing and making original music are very similar in the aspect of the entire process, but the real difference is that basis. So with remixes, you're making a music track that basically has already been made, and you have basically the building blocks there already, like the notations and stuff.
Okay.
So realistically, the only thing you're doing with remixing at that point is changing the style of the track. That's really what it is mostly. But it's at the end of the day, it is entirely up to the creator to decide how they want to change that track. I think a good example of remixing slash parody is Weird Al Yankovic, where yes, his like the backing tracks for the music that he does is pretty relatively similar to what the original stars would, like music stars would have, but his style of remixing is in the vocals, the lyrics. With like video game music remixes, it's the opposite realistically, where that the lyrics slash melody, you could say, is the same, whereas the backing track or the style of the song is different.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Which one do you enjoy more, remixes or originals?
So difficult. That genuinely is difficult. Because I love the process of both. That's so hard.
Sorry, man. I'm
It's
just
like,
I'm just bringing the heat,
it's like,
man.
do I like it's like as if it's like you have two children in front of you and you have to decide which one you love more.
Oh no. Oh
but
no.
I think, like, in my head, I think making original music overall is a little more fun. And the reason for it is because of the journey of coming up with new ideas potentially. And most importantly, that end result of something that you completely made that's never been made before, in terms of like maybe melody or whatnot. Like, it's so much fun going from beginning with nothing into the end. With remixing, you're starting from something, so you have that basis to go on and you're just building upon it.
Right.
So the process is fun, definitely, but I mean, and you're brainstorming obviously, but that whole basis is still there. Whereas with original music, I do use inspiration from other tracks and stuff, but I start from the very get-go with nothing, basically. Yeah. And that's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when I was making the music for the, like, extra Frostfall battle music, because fans have been wanting more Frostfall music.
That track is coming soon, mind you.
Hopefully.
Because
yeah.
you got some help from us in the Elestrals community with that track.
I plan on doing more of that in the future too.
That was such a cool experience, man. That was so awesome that you just because the community wanted more Frostfall music, you were like, you know what? All right, let's hop in a chat room. Anybody that joins can feel free to put their input in if they would like to hear something. It was so cool to see like the input that you took, and you're just like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you would use that, and then you'd be like, okay, but hear me out, check this out. And then it's like, oh, it was such a fun experience to be a part of that, man.
And the cool thing about it as well is that then everyone is seeing that journey from conception to that final creation, because for all of the music that you guys have listened to so far, that's all you get, but you don't see the entire process of getting to there. Now, granted, the Frostfall battle music that we all worked on together, it was based off of something original that I had previously created that ended up not being used at all. But even then, you know, there was still like new stuff in there and everything. And,
well, I mean,
recreating it.
From what I gathered from the original that you showed us, the original was much more electronic, and then with the one that we wound up with, it brought in a bunch more traditional and like acoustic sounding stuff that like livened it up and made it feel very close to home. Yeah, alive. There you go. Like it's breathing, like it had a purpose, and I absolutely loved just being a part of that and listening to that as well. Just the where you started from, and I think you slowed it down from the original as well, right? You down the tempo to kind of give it a different sort of feel, and it was just such an amazing. I loved it. It was so awesome.
Thank you. I want to do more of that for sure as well. Of course, I'm not going to be able to do it for every track, because some of them I have to do for projects that are going to be out in the future. For something like that, you know, like the set's already out, and like coming out and everything. So you all know Frostfall is a thing. So I can make music for Frostfall then, and be like, hey guys, this is going to be for Frostfall. Let's have a fun time and jam together, of course.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to do more of that, because at the end of the day, yes, I'm making music, but I'm making music for everyone at home, all of you. I'm not making the music for me, I'm making it for you guys. So if I make a track that you don't like, that's a problem. So I want to make something that you all are going to like, that you are going to be like, I want to listen to that again. And so that's why I like doing stuff like that.
It was so fun, man. I really enjoyed that. I wanted to ask, because you had that basis to go off of with that track. How do you start? How do you start composing a song? What's your creative process that you go through most of the time?
So most of the time, it's immediately going to be like, okay, we need to make a music track. All right. What is it going to be based on? Is it going to be based on like something like script wise for like a story maybe or something? Or is it going to be based on an environment? What's it based on? That's the first step. Because obviously, what's the context behind this track? What's it, about? Then once I find that out, so let's say, for example, we're going to use Atlantis as a good example. The Atlantis battle theme. We'll just use that as an example. All right, so we need you to make a battle theme based on the lost city of Atlantis. Okay, cool. Where is it going to be used? It's going to be used in the TCG app. It's going to be a battle theme. Okay, so we probably need something a little bit upbeat, so that way it's a hype battle theme, because we want people, of course, to have a good time. We don't need anything that's going to put people to sleep, because it's a battle theme. It's going to be for the app. Then at that point, it's like, alrighty, do we have any pictures? Do we have any ideas of like, how do we want this track to feel with Atlantis? Because Atlantis is obviously the lost underwater city. What are we looking for in terms of feeling? So we'll get that sort of stuff. If there's any images as well, we'll get that as well. And it's just like getting every bit of basis as much as possible before even starting the track, making sure that everything is in place for having these ideas come into place. And then with the Elestrals Atlantis battle theme in particular, I said this in a different podcast, but it's based on a calmer version of that track that was made first before the battle theme. So when I did that original theme, I had in mind with it a story. So I went off of that and, coming up with all the stuff for that. And with the battle theme, I used an inspirational music track that I've listened to a decent amount of times back in the day, and sometimes even now, Anamanaguchi's Ekobo track. Very, very good track. I love it a lot. It has a great underwater aesthetic to it, but also has some of that retro bit in it too. It's a very fun track. It's very Anamanaguchi, basically. Yeah. So I'll get the inspiration to make tracks based on the style. Not necessarily, and this is one thing I want to make sure people are aware of as well, is when I talk about inspirational music tracks, I'm not talking about the notations and stuff of them. I'm talking about just the style. Because it's hard to create your own style sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I usually use inspirational music tracks as a basis of what kind of style I'm looking for, and then expand upon it from there.
Right, and then you kind of find your niche, where does it fit in my realm.
Exactly.
Yeah, I relate to that because you're more of the digital music kind of producer creator.
Yes.
I was a musician of sorts. I still consider myself kind of a musician, but I wrote original music as well. So I kind of understand that process. You got to find inspiration from something somebody else has done, and then you kind of have to pull from it to kind of find your own mold to put on it. And I feel that's so important for a lot of aspiring artists and musicians out there. You got to find somebody to take inspiration from, right? Otherwise, where
otherwise you don't have anything to go off of.
So it's one thing to copy and paste, right? But there's certain things you can do to be okay, I like the style of this song. This song is played out a certain way. I like the way that the cadence is. I like the time signature on this. Let's go with this time signature. Let's go with like something a little upbeat like that, and then roll from there, and then kind of start throwing in your own twists and turns and ebb and flows to kind of like make it fit like your style. And that's one thing I can say, Tailwinds, is like your style is extremely recognizable. Just because I like I said, I went way back and started listening to a bunch of your stuff from way back when, and it's like instantly recognizable. That's Tailwinds. Like, that is his style.
Yeah.
It's you have your own thing, man, and I'm so excited for it. Like the buddies on the Divine Council, like you were on their podcast as well. You were saying, they were talking about how, you know, there's some theme music and some compositions out there that are just instantly recognizable by everybody, and I cannot wait for the day that people go, hey, that's Tailwinds, that's Elestrals.
I can't wait for it either.
It's gonna be so awesome, man. It's gonna be so amazing. So you have a really standout style, and like you've progressed and gotten a lot better, and that was just, to me, it was instantly recognizable. I don't know if it's just because I myself am musically inclined. I have a ear for music. It's just the quality of your work has greatly improved from the very beginning, from what I heard, to now. It is 10
Are you
times
talking in terms of Elestrals, or are you talking in terms of my like entire music career with my channel?
Overall, with your channel, from what I heard, man, like it's
so much fun listening back to all of it too.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who's made all of that music, there's a few times where I will just occasionally go onto my channel, watch my earlier videos, and just watch that progression, because there's some tracks in there where I can tell exactly like the moment where things really improved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun to go back and look at all those and then see what I'm doing now. And that feeling is genuinely like amazing of a feeling. And I'm glad that my Elestrals music is at a point where it is right now, because, and honestly too, like, I'm glad that it's instantly recognizable for people, because in my honest opinion, I don't feel the same way, you know?
Well, it's really,
as someone that makes the music, I don't feel like that myself, but I'm glad that people feel that way. That's my goal from the very get-go. So I'm, happy for that.
Yeah, and also, like, from the beginning to now, especially with some of the more recent stuff that you've released with the Elestrals, as opposed to like the original OSTs and stuff, it greatly improved, and the quality has gone up, in my opinion, as well. Like, you're starting to kind of branch off and experiment a little bit more, and it's really, really beautiful. Like the latest lore video that we got, the music in that is excellent.
Yes.
Man. It's so good.
I don't know if I really talked about it too much in the Divine Council. That's it. I don't know if I talked about it.
I don't think it was released at the time of
it wasn't. Recording. That's right. So I get to talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about the lore.
Part 2. Okay. So the fun fact about that video is that all of the music tracks I had to make in a few days.
Really?
I did not get much time to work on it, unfortunately, and that was the one thing I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was not proud of my work overall with it. There were some tracks that I absolutely loved to death, like the acoustic version of Fully Forced.
Yes.
I freaking love that track, and I'm so happy with how it came out. The middle portion where there's like big action music in there and everything, I really like it, but I could never figure out a proper ending for it, or possibly a way to make it loop in to maybe use it as like a potential battle theme for the app in the future. I could never figure that out because I didn't have the time. The cave theme, I freaking adore that theme. I am not... Okay, so I am extremely used to making battle themes. Like, right. That's
like really high energy.
You've watched my videos,
yes.
So you know that. Not everybody else at home knows that. So the cave theme was one of the first times in a long while where I had to stir away from that a little bit, and it was actually really fun to do that. And then the sad music at the very end too. That genuinely was like one of the most interesting times for me to work on music at that point, because I think it was one of the first tracks that I worked on, I think, was that one. And immediately from the get-go, I was like, I need to, my goal 100%, because we had the narration already like recorded as like the drafts of it. So I would place it in there and then compose the music while that was playing. So everything in the lore is completely original, no inspiration.
That's awesome,
but
man.
My goal with the sad music for the very end of that episode of the lore, I told myself I need to make myself cry with this track by the end of creating it, because I wanted it to be that powerful at the end. And listening to it with the end of it, with the dialogue as well, it almost put me to tears, and I was like, yep, this is great. This is it.
It's really a change of pace from what you're used to. I think it's amazing, because like, especially as as an artist, as a musician, as a composer, it's good to be pushed into your out of your comfort zone to kind of help improve like your writing capabilities and what you're able to produce. Like, it's sometimes you got to step out of that comfort zone and that comfort bubble to really expand and grow. And it's amazing, because yeah, you've done a lot of like really hype battle theme type tracks, and
yeah, and a lot of people have noticed that as well, have been wanting some more calm music.
Yeah.
I've been, believe me, people, I've seen it. I know you want it.
I know.
I know. That's why the second Frostfall battle music, even though it's considered battle music, is calmer.
It is.
Because everyone wanted something maybe a little more calm. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. It's possible we can do it with a battle theme, so let's do it. So just because there's a lot of people in the Elestrals community does not mean I do not see what you were wanting from the music. I keep a sharp eye on those things, because at the end of the day, it's for you all.
Yep. And I appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody else appreciates it as well, man. Like, you're doing an amazing job. You're doing fantastic work. It's really exciting, just to be able to be here and be a part of this, and you being able to include all of us with that. Because
thank you.
There's I know that it's probably common, like the teams, the development teams behind these games, these TCGs, they don't. It's like they put themselves above everybody else for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, it to me, it's not right to be like that, especially when these people are your core. They're the reason you're even able to do what you're able to do. So why put yourself above them? You guys in the Elestrals team have just, y'all aren't there. Y'all don't have that ego, that complex. Y'all are down here with us. Y'all are a part of the community as well. Y'all love the game as well. Y'all love everything that's happening. And just as a community member myself, really, really appreciate that. Like, the fact that I'm even able to get you, the composer of Elestrals, onto my podcast is phenomenal. You just jumped in like, yeah, man, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Let's spread the word. Let's spread the love, you know? And you hop into VCs all the time. You're a part of the community. You hop into the tournaments with everybody. You play on the app with people. I
barely play on the app at all, but yeah, I'll from time to time.
You know, but you do. You're there with us. You're experiencing it with us, even though you're on the team and you are the composer. You make the music, man. Like, it's crazy to me. I still can't wrap my head around it, because it's so. I've never been a part of something like this before, and it's so magical to see. It's so magical to be a part of this. It's incredible.
I'm so glad that I'm able to make that difference for people where I'm outside of the norm like that. The most important thing as well is like like I said before, at the end of the day, it is about the community. But I'm also going to kind of disagree a little bit in terms of the whole ego thing with other developers. That's not necessarily true. A lot of the time, when it comes to these big AAA studios or even like indie developers with like exciting projects and whatnot, where there's a lot of eyes on them, they realistically they just don't want to have things leaked or revealed, so that way when things are revealed or released properly, there's a lot more excitement right out the gate for them.
That makes
Whereas
sense.
with Elestrals, we make things a little different in regards. We do things a little bit differently, and at the end of the day, there's some people just do things in different ways. Like there's plenty of composers out there who are just as engaging as I am, but they don't have the exposure like I do. And there's nothing wrong with that, or anything like that. But at the end of the day, the way I see any project that I want to work on is the first and foremost important characteristic or attribute for me that'll make me want to work on a project is, do I like it enough / am I passionate about it? Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to make great music if I'm not passionate about what I'm with. And at the end of the day, it's all about the community, and I want to be a part of the community because of it, which is, odd for someone like a composer to do, because I've seen it from like Rivals of Aether with Flashy Goodness. They rarely do anything with the community at all, to other like composers and whatnot, who don't really like talk to people very much about their work. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's not at all.
Well, I wasn't saying that there was something wrong with that. I'm just saying that it makes the experience with Elestrals that much more amazing.
That much more amazing and personal as
Yes.
well, which I'm glad that what we do is able to give that impression for people, because it's important for us as well. I mean, just like you said, we are very passionate about the game. We have faith in Elestrals.
Y'all play the game. Y'all
play the game.
That's one of the
play
key
the
things.
game.
Dan,
And
A-Drive, the creator, CEO, founder, plays the game, man. He doesn't just make these things and send it off. No, he's there playing the game. That says a lot.
Yeah, and like I think a big part of it too, of why I'm like so enticed with the community, is because I professionally commentate fighting games. And you have to be a part of the communities for that, because you have to know storylines and all that stuff. And so that helps a whole lot with how I am towards the community, because I like, to use the power that I have to be able to benefit others, basically.
Right. Flesh out the stories that wouldn't otherwise be told, that otherwise nobody would know about. Some people see the bracket of the top cut, the top 8 finalists, and they just see the names and they're like, yeah, these names are familiar. But what's the story behind those names? Because those names have met multiple times, and those names, like, there's history between these names. They have fought each other.
I have ideas for like a documentary style video just like that for Elestral Central.
That would be awesome.
And I want to start writing a script on it. Every time I think about it, I'm like, I need to write a script for it, because I'll DM it to you right here. I'm not going to reveal it to everyone else, but I think you might know what I'm going to talk about here.
If it's expanding on the Distant Coat or Jade Johnny thing, then I have.
Never mind. Thanks for ruining it.
Hey, you made it public in the Divine Council. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I guess I did. That's right.
Yeah, you did. That's you. You revealed that already.
Hey, my fault. But I haven't update. I haven't written a script yet. I want to so badly though.
Well, you're terribly busy, man. You're always, like, it seems like you've always got stuff going on.
It's either a day job or working with Elestrals, or just wanting to sleep, man.
Yeah. I felt that. I felt that. While we're here on that, let's talk about Elestral Central a little bit, man. Like you,
Why not?
Yeah, you clearly have a really good idea, and it's really something intriguing and something that nobody else is doing. And
I'm glad you think that.
I like literally, because for me, like with my content, I'm trying to do like a jack of all trades sort of thing. So like, I'm just trying to cover Elestrals as a whole. I'm trying to participate in tournaments, be a part of the competitive side. I'm also trying to be a part of the casual side. I want to be there doing the pack openings, talking about the reveals. I want to do it all. I want to cover the behind the scenes stuff like we're doing right now with you. Just give people insight into what Elestrals is as a whole. And then there's other channels that kind of do similar things. But nobody really talks about the competitive outside of the Elestronauts. And really what they talk about is just the top tier decks, and that's it. They don't go into detail on this rivalry and another anything like that. So is that something that we're going to be seeing a lot more of moving forward with Elestral Central?
Yes, 100%. Like I said before, as a commentator, I'm always looking for a juicy story. I'm looking for those moments in the history of a competitive lifespan for a game where, these moments can be televised or put in those history books. A great game that has that sort of thing is Super Smash Bros. Melee's competitive scene. That scene has such a unique history behind it, and any competitive fighting game realistically can have that. It just is dependent on if the scene is willing to document it, discuss it, and make content about it. And I think the big problem currently is that there's two problems with Elestrals content on YouTube right now. And granted, for everyone that makes Elestrals content on YouTube, I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm not saying any of this kind of stuff. This is just how I see it. Right now, there is a hole in the Elestrals YouTube space. And that hole is discussing the competitive scene, the storylines behind things. A great example that we just talked about. The rivalry between Jay Johnny and Distant Coder. Did I say Coder? Coder. But their rivalry, where for a good span of a few months, really starting with the first few tournaments and then into the Elestriad and then into a few tournaments later where Jay Johnny would seemingly keep on losing to Distant Coder, and then Jay Johnny would make a video immediately afterwards venting his frustrations. This kind of stuff, not really many people have been talking about it in a way that could possibly bring people into the scene. Because, yeah, we can say all day long, the Elestrals community has a great community. We have a lot of amazing people, but they're not seeing it. And that's missing. That's a missing part of that. But not only that, but I feel like there's just a void for anyone wanting to begin playing competitive Elestrals on like a real foot way to get in there. There are some channels, like a good one, for example, is Wirtz. He's been doing a great job at
top two YouTuber
as well.
Top two Elestrals YouTuber, not two. Just gonna throw that out there. Top two, not two.
But like he's been doing a great job at that, at trying to do that as well. But at the same time, I feel like, I think I said this to him before, where sometimes it's a little difficult to stay focused, stay paying attention to his stuff. Nothing wrong with your content, Wirtz. I love you, man.
We all love you, Wirtz.
I have ADHD, so like my attention span is not great as is. But my goal with Elestral Central is to make content that's easy and digestible for anyone who wants to get into the competitive Elestral scene, but also for anyone that maybe isn't playing in the Elestrals competitive scene but pays attention to it, to know what's going on, because not everyone's gonna play competitively, but they want to know what's going on. They want to be a spectator, and they want to cheer on their favorite players, but they're not getting the scoop. They're not getting what's going on. Granted, I'm not doing a great job of the tournament recaps myself, I'll be honest, but those will be changing.
I definitely I agree with that. As a Elestrals content creator myself, of course, I just started, so I'm still kind of just getting into the swing of things. But I like I said, I want everybody to experience Elestrals as a whole, like inside and out, everything from the cards to the art to the community to the people to the casters to everybody. I want everybody to know exactly what Elestrals is, and this is, like you said, an integral part of it. It is a very integral part of it. And for me, I've never been a competitive player myself, so it's hard for me to kind of get a grasp on it. That's why I kind of threw myself into the tournaments, like personally, so I could kind of get a feel for how it is and how those top players are, and how it actually works in the realm of being a part of something where people are like giving their all and trying to win, trying to be the best, you know? And it's kind of a hard adjust for me, but I think I've kind of started getting the gears turning, and I really want to help promote that competitive scene as well. But anyways, man, yeah, I am super excited for the future of Elestral Central.
Me too, because now we have, I have a good friend of mine who used to edit videos for my channel where I did like Rivals of Aether, like gameplay stuff and like like traditional gaming, like funny moment video stuff. As a commentator, he's now back in form editing videos for Elestral Central. So we're in the process of editing, like properly editing the first video together, which I will go ahead and spoil it because it'll probably come out after the podcast maybe or something. It'll be the Frostfall starter deck video, which one is right for you video. So in the video, I go over every card featured in the starter decks, explaining each card. And at the end of the video, I tell you what deck is best for you. Not as like the in general best deck, but I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I do tell you what the best deck to get is.
Right.
But I tell you what that best deck is going to be based on your preferences as a player. So that video already, we have like better editing than what I would have done with the previous videos. And it's going to be like 10 times better.
Awesome.
Everyone's going to love it.
I'm super excited for that, man. I really loved the breakdown you did on the Shattered Stars packs and like how to build a deck just based off of what you got from Shattered Stars.
I love that idea too.
It's
wanted
really
to
cool.
do it.
I
wanted to do it so badly for Wind and Frost, but the big problem with those two, with Wind, there are some good cards out of there. Honestly, you could make a decent Glide scale deck, and that's most likely what you would do with your Shattered Stars cards. But there just wasn't enough there for me to be able to properly make something good. In my opinion. And I kind of forgot, and time went by so fast at that point. I just was like, oh well, not a big deal.
And then Frost has the issue of
that's it.
4 of the 5 are the same cards. Like
exactly, and those are literally all of the Frost cards that we have right now until people get their hands on Frostfall.
Exactly.
So it was literally impossible for me to make a deck based around it. Now, when Water comes out here this month, which I got my order confirmation today, so
me too, man.
Funny thing is, like, I'm actually one of the first people that gets my Shattered Stars monthly stuff. So,
lucky dog.
I was surprised. I like received a notification, like I think 1 or 2 days after my Frost month order was made. And literally like 2 or 3 days later, I got the packs already.
Yo,
like before like most everybody else, and I pulled the full the first full art statue
Keone.
Keone
Yep.
in the world.
Yep.
Other than A Drive.
Right.
And that was fun. But I'm looking forward to possibly doing that for water.
Please do,
for
because
sure.
we are both water lovers.
Yes. anyone watching this episode, if you pull a stained glass Majesty that you want to send over, please send me a DM. I'm looking to get 3.
I will. I'm getting 30 packs, man. So any excess, I will happily send your way, my guy.
Oh man, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
That makes it, because Majesty is like my favorite Celestial right now.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there is an Celestial in a future set that is realistically my favorite, more than Majesty.
Okay.
But I cannot spoil it.
Absolutely not.
So
please don't.
But Majesty is my favorite right now. I love Majesty.
That's all we need to know. It's coming out in a future set.
In fact, the Divine Council made us like their thumbnail with the Majesty with the little tuxedo.
Yeah.
I actually had them try to see if they can make it as like a custom card and send it to me.
Oh,
because I thought it was so cool.
That would be so sick, man. That would be so sick.
And I'm gonna have it on my backdrop for like the physical opening videos. Because when Frostfall releases, I will be opening all the stuff that I get through Frostfall, because I got both starter decks. I got most of the blisters. I got 12 of the Fleur-Mine and then 3 of the Frigid Cub. So I'll be opening those as well, and then the booster box on top of it.
Nice.
So I'll be doing opening videos for the channel as well, and I'm probably not going to get the Majesty by then, but you'll see the Hollow Fleur-Mine over there taking its spot for now.
Fair enough. No, I absolutely love that. It's so cool. The Maestro Majesty.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. I hope it comes soon, because oh man, it was such a smart design from them, and I was just like, please make this as like a custom card for me. Just like print it out and as like a sticker thing or something, and put it on top of a common Celestial card.
Oh man, that's just gonna be so cool. So hype on that. But yeah, man. So let's kind of go backwards here. Let's kind of go back in reverse.
Sure.
Let's start from the beginning of your musical journey. So how long have you been creating music, and how long has that been a passion for you?
So composing music, it's almost been 7 years in, I think, 3 or 4 days. Which is crazy to say, 7 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, 7 years.
That's insane.
1 month later from when I started composing music, I graduated high school. So yeah.
Wow.
7 years almost. And it went by so fast. It's crazy how fast it all went. But like I said, in the past, it was composing Sonic remixes. That's what it was at first. I think the first time, I mean, even then I was making like original music, but it sucked. Like, I'm gonna be real, it
was
sucked.
just like the basic plain Jane, cut and dry, just that kind of stuff.
It was like, I'm making music. But,
yeah.
But like, music has always been a part of my life. I was raised on music. My dad played music.
Same.
Not
my dad,
I
but
was
my
in marching
grandfather.
band. And then I took music theory for a year in high school. So I knew how to compose music, but I didn't really know until like well into it. I think like 2 to 3 years later was when things really started to go in for me. I think the best time, like for me in particular, was Rivals of Aether. In terms of when I started making music. That was amazing.
How did Rivals get started? Was that like a one of those Kickstarter or like just small company campaign games that just had a very small development team that came together and made like a platform fighter or something like that?
So I don't think it ever had a Kickstarter at first. It did for Rivals 2, but in the beginning, it wasn't really. It was sort of a passion project for Dan Fernacci, who before working on Rivals of Aether, made a little like sort of fan game called Super Smash Bros. Land. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's basically an original Game Boy version of Super Smash Brothers. And fun fact about that little game, there is a character in there which is Vaporeon from the Pokemon series, which actually nowadays that moveset for Vaporeon turned into Orcane in Rivals of Aether.
Oh, okay.
So that's where Orcane came from. But even before that, Dan Farnese was actually in Moon Studios. He helped work on the game Ori and the Blind Forest. So he is a seasoned developer, but he was also a fan of competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee and Project M. And basically, all this time later, Rivals of Aether, he's making this game. He sends this game out to a couple of content creators to sponsor them to make a video. One of them in particular was a rising YouTuber content creator who was making Super Smash Brothers videos that were really popping off, Alpha Rad. He made a video about Rivals of Aether, and it popped off like crazy. And as a result, Rivals of Aether is now at the point where it is. And where I go in with all of that is I played the game, like started playing it competitively a little bit because of going to Smash Locals. Someone had a laptop with Rivals of Aether, and the first time I played in the like side event, I got second place. And
nice,
and I was like,
man.
you know what? This game's a lot of fun. I'm gonna play. And so I joined them in the community and everything. And at the time as well, like not too long later, that was when they introduced the workshop for Rivals of Aether. And this is where things really kicked it for me. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I did not expect to get into the Rivals Workshop community the way I did. At first, the first thing in my head I kept on thinking was, oh man, I can't wait to play as my favorite characters from Smash and Rivals of Aether. That's going to be such fun. But my first project in Rivals of Aether Steam Workshop, what turned out to be one of the most popular of all time for it, which was Chris from Deltarune. The lovely person Equinox Doodles was creating Chris, and they were working on the stage and the character, and I was on a voice call at the time. They were like showing off working on the character in the main Discord server, and I basically asked him, hey, you need music? He was like, yeah, I do. I was like, cool, I'll make you music. And that was it.
That's awesome, man. I love when stuff like that happens.
And then after that, the rest was history. Chris became extremely popular. Their stage became extremely popular. The remix for Chris's stage, I was actually very proud of. For the time, I feel like I didn't do that bad at all. It's still pretty good to listen to today. I wish I did better with the mixing, but I wasn't very good with mixing at all back then.
Mixing is always the hard part. It's hard. Mixing is very hard.
But I'm still very proud with that track overall, and as a result, it shares a very special place in my heart. But not too long after that, I think the biggest and most life-changing projects happened for me. And that was a set of 4 characters known as the Diamonds in the Rough. The first one was a character named Palm. Now, I don't know if you've heard of her, but I made the music for Palm. Who is a songstress and basically a pop idol. And
okay, is that what her name is? Okay, cool. Because I kind of looked into the characters a little bit, and I was like, that seems kind of interesting for like a fighter, as like a songstress.
And then I think after Palm was Astra. And Astra's my favorite character out of any single piece of media ever. When I worked on her music for only a few hours, and it still gets stuck in my head. It's such an amazing track. I don't know if you listened to it. The mixing on it wasn't great.
I did listen to a couple, and I think hers was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one to listen to, that's the one, in my opinion.
I do recall it being extremely catchy.
It was amazing.
Like, I absolutely...
I've tried remaking it so many times, but it's been so hard to like capture that magic.
Right.
But anyways, then after that was Olympia. Now, I wish I could talk more about Olympia because the process and everything for that one was so much fun. However, unfortunately, the creator behind Olympia recently got called out for doing some really bad stuff that I don't really want to talk about, unfortunately. But the music for Olympia was so much fun to write for as well. So it's an amazing track. One of the highlights of my career for sure on that one. And then the last one, Epinel, as well. It was pretty much like I had worked on the music for Astra and Palm first, just out of happenstance. And then I found out that they both were part of the Diamonds in the Rough, which were those two plus Olympia and Epinel. And I was like, well, I might as well do the rest of them at this point. So I went to the other two developers for those two characters and reached out to them, got to make the music for both of them. And the rest was history there. After that, I got a lot of people wanting me to make music for characters, remixes, and original stuff. Like Hollow Knight, for example. I got to make music for 2 music tracks for Hollow Knight and Rivals of Aether. That was so much fun. And Truth, Beauty, and Hatred. Oh, that was so much fun to make music for. And then I don't remember the name of the other one, but that one was fun too, because it was normally a slow song that I turned into like a bop. Not a bop, but like a battle theme, and it was so much fun there. Yeah, and then after that, I think as well, one of the, like, also a very fun highlight for me with Rivals. I know I'm talking about Rivals so much, but there's so much with it, so much history. It sounds
like that it was a really integral part of like
it's the reason I am here, right? Genuinely. But yeah, I got to do my first like official development team collaboration of sorts with Rivals as well, in the workshop for a character known as Saffron from One Step from Eden. The development team gave us the green light to make the character in the game for Rivals of Aether as like a custom character, as well as the stage. And I got to make a medley for 4 music tracks from the game, and that was so much fun. I absolutely love that music track still. But yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll fast forward a good bit here. Come 2020, turns out during their April 1st Direct that they're bringing 4 Rivals of Aether characters from the workshop to the base game as base cast roster. And those were Hodon, which funny enough, I was originally supposed to make music for that character, but that fell through because I couldn't think of anything for him because he's just a wild monkey from a spa. It was just like, how do I make music for that? That's crazy.
That is kind of wild.
Malo, but the other 2 characters were Palm and Olympia. And because of that, I got the ability to have like great connections with Dan Fernacey and the Rivals of Aether team. But the most important connection I got from that was my mentor, who is the head of Rezo Force, who makes who made the music for all the rest of the Rivals of Aether games. So Flashy Goodness is a part of Rezo Force. So I got to have connections with them, but specifically like their head. And he's been an amazing mentor for me and helped me get to where I am because I took his advice for everything to get to this point. But because of Rivals of Aether, I got to, bring that to the CEO of Panda Global for Super Smash Brothers. And for those who watched the Divine Council, you know where that story went. And so now it comes full circle at this point. After that, then I got to do Elestrals, and now I'm here because of Rivals of Aether. So it means so much to me. I'm glad that I got to be a part of that step in my life with Rivals of Aether. It truly was what got me to this point. And the big thing with it too was it helped me create original music. It helped me learn how to make original music the way I want to. And Elestrals would not be where it is without Rivals, genuinely.
That's awesome, man. I absolutely love that. That's
I know it was so long. I apologize to everyone at home.
No,
but it
man,
means a lot.
I loved that so much, man, and it's so like detailed, and like when you think about it step by step, you're probably 100% right, because like you got the experience that you needed from Rivals, and I'm pretty sure A Drive would not have hired you on as the original composer for his game had you not been good enough for it, man, and had he not liked what you have done and what you do. And it's
He had to test me on that.
Yeah, he did.
We had to make a test track with Full Life Forest.
Yep, that's incredible, man. That's such an amazing story. I love it. So now that we've kind of come full circle here,